before Jarvis Landry would complete more catches with the Miami Dolphins in just 2 years, beating all previous NFL records. Before Jarvis would win the Miami Dolphins MVP Award alongside teammate Rasheed Jones, or he would earn the nickname Juice.
Man, bro, you know what, bro? You give an old head like me reason to come to practice. You give me juice, you give me energy. You know what? You juice.
Before Jarvis Landry would become college teammate, roommate, and best friend with another wide receiver by the name of Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis would opt for a little blood in his hair to match that of his BFF. Jarvis Landry's rise to stardom was no easy task, and the man overcame many an adversity throughout his youth. His father ran out on him and his family when he was just an infant, and his mother, she worked day and night to keep a roof over her boy's head, which just so happened to be a broken down trailer home. Eventually, it was decided that young Jarvis would have a better shot at a future in football if he was living with his coach, so at the age of 11, custody was signed off by the boy's mother, kinda like the story in The Blind Side.
Never had one before.
What, a room to yourself?
A bed.
Soon after, he would lose his beloved uncle, and this man was the main father figure in his life. But he would turn all of this anguish into fuel for the field and would transform himself into one of the greatest wide receivers the sport has ever seen. Seriously, Jarvis Landry has become the most powerful and aggressive team member the Miami Dolphins have ever seen, well, at least since this guy.
The man who rescued Dan Marino and our beloved Snowflake.
What's going on, guys? My name's Michael McCrudden, documenting the life and career of NFL superstar Jarvis Landry, here for you on Before They're Famous. Now, just last week we covered Odell Beckham Jr., and that video, it exploded. Perhaps you guys want to hear more about football players? As always, let me know who's next in the comments down below. Charles Landry was born on November 28, 1992 in Covent, Louisiana, an industrial town on the east bank of the Mississippi River. His mother, Deatrice, spent Jarvis's formative years working various low-end jobs, including that of a gas station employee, a janitor, in construction, homemaid, and as that of a security guard, often working multiple jobs simultaneously until the early hours of the morning. His father, Elvis Landry, left the family soon after Jarvis was born. Jarvis, his mother, and older brother Gerard, 7 years his senior, grew up in a single wide trailer which was in bad shape, so much so that the plumbing left the family often having to boil water so they could take a decent bath and get cleaned up from all the football they would play out in the field.
It started from here with them playing in my kitchen, laying each other out. My brother made them do that.
Deatrice did what she could to keep food on the table and gift her boys the bare necessities, but on top of this, she taught her boys about faith and would have them attending church on the regular.
When I first met him, his goal was to play college football, to get into the NFL.
Although the two Landry brothers were separated by age, their bond and love of sports kept them close together, and they would pass their free time playing and practicing baseball, basketball, track, and of course football. With the guidance of his older brother Gerard and his two uncles, it was young Jarvis who soon emerged as the local star athlete. Eventually Gerard, he left to play football for Southern University, but Jarvis' training didn't stop there, and he was taken under the wing of his uncle Ernest Clayton III.
He always had us out in the yard catching footballs, tackling each other, getting us tough.
As word of Jarvis's athletic talent spread to the neighboring towns, it was then the boy met with Elmo LeBoeuf, who coached the local elite football league for youth players. Often spending his weekends at the LeBoeuf home, eventually he would live there full-time. Jarvis's mother knew that her son had a chance at a brighter future if he could focus on his sports full-time and be provided with all the guidance and financial assistance necessary to foster his talents. It was at the age of 11, Jarvis was temporarily signed over into the custody of Elmo LeBoeuf, where he lived with the coach, his wife, and their 4-year-old son. He was given his own room, chores to do around the house, and he addressed his adoptive parents as sir and ma'am. Sound familiar?
Are you going to protect the family, Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
During this time, young Jarvis was a little mixed up. Remember, he's only 11 years young. He was thinking to himself, does his mother not want him anymore? Now, there's a lot of contrasting reports on how this whole situation played out, but the move, it wouldn't last long, because 6 months later, his beloved Uncle Ernest passed away from a sudden heart attack, and Jarvis, he then moved home. It was then he enrolled at local Lutcher High School, and he put all his focus and energy into his athletics. He quickly became the greatest sportsman the school had ever seen, playing football, baseball, and running track. As an 8th grader, he once caught 5 touchdowns in a varsity game. As a senior, he led the team in tackles, and he also played linebacker and safety. Yeah, this guy could do it all.
He started playing football. He was the toughest player on the field. And then even after he had the ball and somebody tried to tackle him, he would run clean over him.
It was in 2009 that Landry caught the eye of the LSU recruiting coordinator, and he soon joined the Tigers as a sophomore and spent the next 2.5 years cramming so hard that his grade test scores could reach the required marks. His hard work paid off both on and off the field, and he was ranked the nation's #1 wide receiver by MaxPreps.com and the #4 receiver by Rivals.com and Scout.com.
On the field, there's nothing small about him. He plays big. He plays a lot bigger than what he is.
The Southeastern Conference was held in Baton Rouge in 2011, and Jarvis was ready to show off his dominance in the college conference, but he suffered a stress fracture in his right foot and failed to perform as he had hoped. But not all hope had been lost. He had made a best friend with another wide receiver by the name of Odell Beckham Jr. With Jarvis being left-handed, the two were a match made in heaven, and quickly became the most dominant receiver team college football had ever seen. The two spent the 2012 and 2013 season pushing each other to the limit, practicing day and night. They became notorious for catching balls in strange positions, and although both were credited as being brilliant, it was Jarvis who was said to be the best showman of the pair. His passion and energy during practice led to his teammate Josh Dworcik giving him the name Juice.
Juice, a will?
Juice. Juice! Juice.
Whoa, we ain't talking about the Juice, we're talking about Juice. Plus, OJ, well, he retired that name when the juice went loose. Let's get back to Jarvis Landry.
I used to come to practice so amped up, and he said, man, bro, you know what, bro? You give an old head like me reason to come to practice. You give me juice, you give me energy. You know what? You juice.
He finished school with 137 catches for 1,809 yards and 15 touchdowns, and was named the team captain in 2013, all while his mother Deatra cheered him on from the crowd. It was then in the 2014 NFL draft that the Dolphins, they selected Landry 63rd overall in the 2nd round. And the rest of the story, well, you know it because this is Before They're Famous. My name is Michael McCrudden, and we do all sorts of celebrity bios on here. We've done a bunch of athletes, the Gronk being one of my favorite, but we've got a bunch more to do. So let us know in the comments down below who you want us to document next. Conor McGregor, that was a fun one, because I'm also Irish. But you guys let us know who's next. Check out our other videos, hit subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Eins gibt's Velvet. I am trainer of dolphins. You want to talk to the dolphin? You talk to me.